Oh, sorry, folks. I was muted there. I do that from time to time. Sorry. Sorry, I was muted. Thanks for tuning in. I'm the Irish Patriot. No sound. There's a sound now. Hello. I think I was muted there. Yeah, sorry about that. Had the mic muted there for a second. Sorry about that. Just technical problem. Yeah, sorry about that. I was muted there. So yeah, I've got President of the Irish Republican Brotherhood, um, Billy McGuire. Hopefully, I have to call him on the phone. I've got my phone set up here. Got to put it on loudspeaker. Hopefully, he answers. I was chatting to him yesterday. Um, Thanks for tuning in, folks. Oh yeah, I gotta edit the video. Add the links. Let me see here now. Okay, so I gotta copy and paste the links that I want in the description. So if you want to call into the show after Billy, we'll see how long Billy's on for and see how I'm feeling. So if you want to join the Discord, please press the Discord link below in the description. You'll probably have to refresh the page there now to get all the links. So before I call Bully, if you want to join the Discord, the link is in the description. Also, one of the most important things I'm going to just mention tonight is the sex ed survey. I'm going to keep mentioning it until October the 25th. So there's sex ed curriculum coming into Ireland. And NCCA is the governing body for curriculum in this country, the National Council for Curriculum Assessment. And the second link below, sex ed survey, just click on the link and you fill out a survey tell them you don't want the sex education coming into our schools. So yeah, the link below, second link for the sex ed survey, please everyone fill it out multiple times. Stop the sex ed. Yeah, so before, I just wanted to go through the links here before. So if you want to print out the flyers, to the Dropbox link is below. The flyers that I'm always showing, and if you want to help fund it, there's a GoFundMe link. And everyone, please subscribe to my BitChute and DLive channel. Thank you very much. So before I get Billy on here, I'm going to play our beloved national anthem. Alright folks, hope you enjoyed that. I always do. Right, before I bring on Billy McGuire, just a little announcement to make. Got a very special guest coming on tomorrow. The one and only Gemma O'Doherty. I've just chatted to her there about 20 minutes ago. She's going to come on tomorrow at 8 p.m. So special stream tomorrow. Gemma O'Doherty will be here at 8 o'clock. So yeah, Gemma's coming on tomorrow. What else I want to talk about before Billy comes on? Oh yeah, I'm looking for people to hand out flyers. I was handing out flyers there at Croke Park, and I only had 3 or 4 people. And to be quite honest with you, I was quite disappointed at the response I got. Don't want to be negative here, but like people, like 70% of the people who watch my live streams, like I get 3,000 people watching them every stream I make. Every stream I do, and I only got 3 or 4 people to hand out flyers with me. So if you want to help me hand out flyers in the future, like please send me an email or join our Discord. That's what it's all about. Like it's about getting active. So yeah, I'm looking for help here. Not enough people are helping out. Too many people are sitting behind the keyboard, not handing out flyers, not getting active, not meeting up in their local areas. So yeah, I would love for more people to help out. It's not like I'm always driving around the country every weekend, every week, so it would be nice to see some more people help out. So yeah, if you want to help out in the future, send me an email or join our Discord. That's what it's all about. You have to get out of your comfort zone. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there regarding that. So I'm going to have to call Billy here now. I have to call him from my phone. He doesn't have Skype or anything like that. So let me see here now. Get Billy.
Hello?
Hello, Billy.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Who's that?
This is Niall here, the Irish Patriot. Remember, I was calling you there yesterday.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, yes, Niall. How are you?
I'm doing great, Billy. Thanks for coming on here. You're on live here now on my radio show.
Right.
Just letting you know. So yeah, we had a good chat there yesterday, Billy. About some of the letters you were sending there to Boris Johnson.
Yeah, I think that's important. Have you that letter, or will I read that letter?
No, if you want to read it, I can bring it up on the screen here now. Is it it's up on your website, isn't it?
It's Boris Johnson.
Right. Okay. Let me see now.
It is up. John has it up anyway.
Right. Okay. Let me see if I can find it.
We'll do the GA medal as well. For Sunday.
Okay. Right. I've got your letter here now. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, I've got it here now in front of me.
Will you read it?
Well, if you want to read it, Billy, you can go on ahead. You're probably better at it than me.
Well, it'd be nice. It's your program.
Well, right, okay.
Anyway, are we on air?
Yeah, we're on air right now, yeah.
Oh, well, I'd like to say good evening to all the listeners up there, The Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood they're great supporters up there. The letter was to the Right Honourable Boris Johnson MP, the Prime Minister, 10 Downing Street, London, SW1A2AA UK. Will you read it or will I read it?
Go on ahead there, Billy. Read away.
Dear Prime Minister Johnson, the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood note your election as the new Prime Minister of Great Britain and your hostility to our state, the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, and to our sovereign Irish people. Before Britain leaves the European Union on 31st of October 2019, the British government must pay back to the Sovereign Republic of Ireland and the IRB the £200 billion plus national debt that the British government imposed on Ireland and the Irish people on the 6th of December 1921 to pay for the illegal and unlawful free state under the threat of immediate and terrible war on the Irish people when the British government sent her crown forces into the Sovereign Republic of Ireland to inflict terrible savagery, cruelty and brutality on our sovereign Irish people when we left Britain on the 21st of the 1st, 1919, our Independence Day. There was no border in the Sovereign Republic of Ireland on the 21st of the 1st, 1919, our Independence Day. that undemocratic Free State government that was imposed by King George V of England, the British government and the Crown forces on Ireland and the Irish people, illegally, fraudulently and unlawfully in 1922 as a British apartheid system for the 26 and 6 counties of Ireland as an orange, undemocratic Free State and a provisional royal monarchist government that we have today in the Royal Dáil and the Royal Oireachtas that sits in Leinster House in Dublin, and is the cause of all ours and your troubles today. Only the sovereign Dáil democratically elected government by the will and wishes of all the sovereign people of Éire in the 1918 32 County All-Ireland election called by the British government on the 14th of December 1918, the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood, in brackets the IRB Sinn Féin, there's no other Sinn Féin, only the IRB Sinn Féin, won 73 seats on the 28th of December 1918. The Unionist Party won 25 seats. The Nationalist Party won 60 seats. The Independents won 1 seat out of a total of 105 seats. The Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood, IRB, in brackets, still hold that mandate today, and ratified on the 21st of the 1st, 1919 in the Mansion House, Dublin, and GHQ, Vaughan's Hotel, Dublin, by the Sovereign Dáil government of the Sovereign Republic of Éire, all 32 counties. Question: why should the Sovereign Republic of Éire, sovereign people of Éire, and the sovereign government of Éire pay and uphold for Britain an illegal, fraudulent, and unlawful Free State system of government that Britain imposed on Ireland on the 6th of December 1921, when we have a sovereign state, Sovereign Republic of Éire, all 32 counties and territory, a sovereign Dáil government, a sovereign Dáil courts, in bracket 4 courts, without any debt, and has the right to sit in the European Union, European Parliament, European Court of Justice, and the European Commission, and have all our sovereign territories and our sovereign seas to our border with America and to our border and our border to Britain down the Irish Sea, as in brackets, as it was on the 21st of the 1st, 1919, our independence day, governed by the European Union and the Sovereign Republic of Éire. I have to turn the page. When you, Prime Minister Johnson, and the British government leave the European Union on the 31st of October 2019, the Sovereign Dáil government and the European Union will govern the 32 counties of the Sovereign Republic of Éire and all its sovereign territories, in brackets, the largest in the European Union, under the mandate of the 1918 32 county election, when we won 73 seats on the 28th of December 1918 out of a total of 105 seats. Prime Minister Johnson, if you and the British government impose another border in the Sovereign Republic of Éire, Óglainn Ahern will defend our sovereign state and our sovereign Dáil government and our sovereign Dáil courts, 4 courts in brackets, under the All-Ireland mandate of the 28th of December 1918, and ratified on the 21st of 1919 in the Mansion House in Dublin, and GHQ, Vaughan's Hotel, Dublin, by the Sovereign Dáil government. The sovereignty of God and the sovereignty of man. The IRB are asking you, Prime Minister Johnson MP, to take down and remove our sovereign seal of Dáil, A.D. Saltery, from the coat of arms of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II of England's seal, which is the cause of great conflict between our two nations. Signed and sealed on this day, the 1st of August, Anno Domini 2019, under the sovereign seal of the Sovereign Republic of Éire. William James McGuire, President of the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood, President of the Sovereign Republic of Éire, President of the Sovereign Dáil Courts, and I signed and sealed it under the sovereign seal of the Sovereign Republic of Éire. And included in that is the 1918 the elections and that, and which and is the first sovereign Dáil government, and it's on the 21st of January 1919, and that's up on the website as well, in the round room in the Mansion House, Dublin. And it was IRB Sinn Féin. There's no other Sinn Féin, only IRB Sinn Féin, Irish Republican Brotherhood Sinn Féin. They have the mandate. all those others were claiming, which is other Sinn Féins and Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael and Labour. That's where they all came out of, Sinn Féin, and all out of the IRB. That's where they came from, and it's time they recognised that. On the back of that, the Sovereign Dáil government. The Sovereign Dáil government, only the Sovereign Dáil government, the 21st of 1919, elected in the All-Ireland election of the 14th of December 1918 and won by the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood by 73 seats on the 28th of December 19 and ratified on the 21st by the Sovereign Dáil government of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland. That was elected by the will and wishes of all the people of the 32 counties of Ireland in the 1918 All-Ireland election, and sit in the European Parliament and use the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood's Sovereign Seal of Dáil Éireann 12 strings Anno Domini 2019, Sol 3 AD, and their tricolour flag of green, white and orange. IRB Sinn Féin. And that is on the back of that letter. That's always included to Boris Johnson. And here you have all our territory. And if you go back to 1155 is when Pope Adrian IV illegally and fraudulently gave it to Henry II to build his empire. And you have on the top 19 to 2019. That's 100 years. And my family, who are a seafaring family, have been holding that mandate ever since. And that's what we both want to do. The name of the state is the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, and you'll see our border with the United States of America. We're the only country in the world that can set foot in America, because we brought the Irish, the Scots-Irish, and the Viking people brought sovereignty to America. And then if you go the other side, you'll see our border down the Irish Sea with Great Britain. And there you are. And I, William James, I claim sovereignty over all our territories and all the Sovereign Republic of Ireland. Rivers, lakes, seas, fishing rights, mineral rights, license, and all assets of the state on behalf of the sovereign citizens of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland and the Irish and Fenian Republican signed on this day, 21st of January 2019, under the sovereign seal of the Sovereign Republic of William James McGuire, President of the Irish and Fenian Republican, or President of the Sovereign Republic of President of the Sovereign Republic of Sovereign Dáil Éireann government. And if you see it on the other side, all our territory. Now Europe has that as well. Now you never see that first Sovereign Dáil Éireann government. You see the second Dáil Éireann government, not the first. Now I'm going to read the other page which was sent as well. And this was done for Nancy Pelosi when she came. She wanted the facts, as did the White House. And Trump, before he came to Ireland, they wanted the facts. And John Robinson, who was our secretary of the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood, and Christina, who's Amy Mahern, we went down to Limerick to Sarsfield Bridge, to Tom Clark reading the proclamation, which is one of the finest proclamations we have. And we did a video of that for the White House. On Easter Monday 1916, the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood had only a provisional government. The IRB had to wait for Great Britain to call the 32-county All-Ireland election on the 14th of December 1918. On the 28th of December 1918, the Irish Republican Brotherhood, IRB Sinn Féin, won 73 seats. The Unionist Party won 25 seats. The Nationalist Party won 6 seats. And the Independent Party won 1 seat out of a total of 105 seats. The Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood, IRB, still hold that mandate today and ratified on the 21st of the 1st, 1919 in the Mansion House, Dublin, by the Sovereign Dáil Éireann government of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland. Excuse me. That is basically, now there's one more letter that we have. It wasn't included to Boris, but because it's only the 1st of September, and this is the Irish under the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood. Brexit on the 31st of October 2019 encloses the Irish and Fenian Republican Brothers letter to the British Prime Minister, the Honourable Boris Johnson MP regarding Brexit. When the Prime Minister Johnson MP and the British government leave the European Union on the 31st of October 2019, the sovereign Dáil government and the European Union will govern the 32 counties of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland and all its sovereign territories and seas under the mandate of the 1918 32 County All-Ireland election. When we, in brackets, IRB Sinn Féin won 73 seats on the 28th of December 1918 out of a total of 105 seats, and ratified on the 21st of 1919 in the Mansion House, Dublin, and GHQ, Dublin, by the sovereign Dáil government of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland. All elected TDs, chop the dollars in bracket, to the sovereign Dáil government will have to take the oath of office to uphold the state, the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, the sovereign Dáil government, and the sovereign Dáil courts, four courts in bracket, as the elected TDs did on the 21st of 1919, our Independence Day, of the first sovereign Dáil government, signed and sealed on this day, the 1st of September, Anno Domini 2019, under the sovereign seal of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, William James McGuire, President of the Irish and Fenian Republic of Brotherhood, President of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, President of the Sovereign Dáil government. It's also signed by our Secretary, John Robinson, Secretary of the Irish and Fenian Republic of Brotherhood, Secretary of the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, Secretary of the Sovereign Dáil government. And that's it.
Right. Do you ever get any responses to your letters, Billy, from Boris Johnson?
No, but I know he got it. We registered that letter to him, and he got it on the 15th of August. And we only got one acknowledgement, and that was from Leo Bradford.
Right.
But I mean, they're the facts of the matter, and with all the lies and deception and fraud, it's time it came out now, and it's time we have a sovereign government. And if you read our proclamation, the 1916 at the TPO, if you read the proclamation, we only had a provisional government. We had to have a sovereign government, because the people here are sovereign. The people are not sovereign in Britain. They're subjects to the crown. And Britain does not have a sovereign government. It is a royal government, royal courts of justice, and a crown force. And Christians believe, especially Roman Catholic Christians, and this is where I said 1155 illegally and fraudulently gave Hibernia all that territory, Maria. That's not true. But Britain doesn't have a sovereign government. It has a royal government, royal courts of justice, and a crown force. And Christians believe that only the Pope in Rome, Christ Vicar and can anoint the sovereign. And Henry VIII, he fell out with the Pope in Rome, and he declared himself Diem under oath, that he was equal to God, and he didn't need the Pope. And they haven't had a sovereign government ever since. They have a royal government, royal courts of justice, and a crown force. And that is the conflict, and that's going on since Henry VIII, because he broke that contract. And no matter what they say or that, and you see this thing about Brexit and all this, the British people are subjects to the crown, and they are not entitled to a referendum. It's only sovereign people or Republican people are entitled to a referendum. It's only the Crown of England can decide whether they stay or leave the European Union. And as you know, General de Gaulle, because I was there for all that, he wouldn't allow Britain because the EEC common market at the time, because Britain didn't have a sovereign government. Again, it had a royal government, royal courts of justice, and a crown force. But that's not sovereignty. But we have a sovereign. That's why we have to. And because my family bought Vaughan's Hotel, 29 Parnell Square and Granby Row. And when we bought that Vaughan's Hotel, it looks out onto the garden of remembrance. And as you know, when the Queen came that time, she wanted to see Vaughan's Hotel, but was in such a dirty condition by the Free State, and they wouldn't allow her to see it. But I mean, that's where the state was founded and funded by the IRB's Sinn Féin, when they won the 73 seats. But it's very important that we know the facts. That tricolour flag that we brought in, Thomas Francis Marr, came in with the orange nearest to the pole, and the IRB changed that to green, white, and orange. And as you know, it was wrapped around one of our founders, The Fenian Chief, a biography by James Stephens, and it was written by Desmond Ryan. And everybody should read that book. It's in all the libraries. There's 23 copies we got into the libraries this year. And you should read that. And I could quote any of those pages there for you of when he died. It was wrapped around his coffin. Let's see, can I find the page there now? Because it's so important that people here don't know the facts and they don't know what happened. But we bought Born to Tell that time for that 32 county election of 1918. And up to then we used to rent a room from Mrs. Vaughan in Born to Tell, 29 Parnell Square in Granby Road. But we bought it then on behalf of the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood, coming among the Fenian Nair. And we donated £1 million in that time for that election. And if we hadn't donated that money, you wouldn't have got your independence today. In fact, it cost a lot more money than that, but we were still able to put our hand in our pocket and do it. And that's why. But you never hear the IRB. We're totally airbrushed out of. And 1858 is when the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood were founded. The Fenians were around. The Young Irelanders were around before that. With the Land League and all that. It's all about the land of Ireland and the sovereign constitution. I'll just give you, let's read that page of the Fenian Chief, which everybody should read, page 316. James Stephens. He died early on Friday morning on the 29th of March 1901 after a sudden and unexpected attack of weakness at the home of his brother-in-law, John Payne, 82 Georges Avenue, Blackrock, County Dublin. Around his coffin was wrapped the Fenian tricolour of green, white and orange, which within 15 years became the banner of that decisive national revolt for which the dead man had profited and dreamt of so long in vain. There you are, 1901. There they were using that and had changes. But you know now who owns the Irish and Fenian, and we'll come on to the GA if you want. The other, when we were founded, which is very important, well, here's page 90. On the 17th of March 1858, Danny F was a tailor from Kilkenny, arrived in Dublin. They were all IRB men, you must remember, and Fenian Brotherhood. Fenians are America. They're the sister organization in America. On the 17th of March 1858, Danny F arrived in Dublin with the acceptance of Stephen's terms by the New York Committee, and the £80 to subscription was the very minimum stipulation. Danny F reported that there was no actual organized body of sympathizers in York, but merely a loose knot of associates, disturbed Stevens. Yet he went ahead at once, and that very evening, the Irish Republican Brotherhood was established in Peter Langdon's timber yard in 16 Lombard Street in Dublin. You know, there tells you the fact. There's St. Patrick's Day, 18th. That's the reason why we celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And on Sunday night, I was looking at the John Hume program, which was excellent. But it was all about St. Patrick's Day and our tricolour flag. But nobody ever mentions that's owned and is the property of the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood. And John O'Mahony founded the Fenian Brotherhood in Dohoney's in New York on St. Patrick's Day, 1858. You know, it's time, and all these people, and I have to criticise RTE for rewriting our history. And all these people, this free state, you see, they never thought Brexit would happen. They always thought we'd have a free state. But it's our sovereign government now, and we want all our territory governed. If we have all our territory governed by Europe, we will be the wealthiest country. We have the largest territory in Europe. We owned all that water from here to America. We're the only country that can set foot in America and in the United States and in Canada because we brought sovereignty. And sovereignty comes, the half we believe the old Celtic Christian people of your ancestors carried that harp, which they believe was the covenant. This is before, now this is the very beginning, before man could write or any of the civilization as we know today. The harp is the covenant between God and man with all the information for his planet Earth and our civilization. And Celtic Christianity were those two 5-stringed harps which were on the Ark of the Covenant, which your ancestors brought from the Middle East right across through Europe and North Africa to Ireland. And they found the sacred site, which is Lochgar in County Limerick. And that's Old Grange. You have the New Grange, but that's the Old Grange. And those two 5-stringed harps, that was what was known as Celtic Christianity. But it's totally different. Then the Roman Emperor changed to Roman Christianity, and they replaced it with 2 angels. But those two 5-stringed harps, if you see the front of that, the wheel, it gives you how to build your wheel, the fellows of the wheel, it gives you how you build your ship. Latitude, longitude, how man can write, how man can count, the sundial, compass, wheel, I could go on and on and on. And we shouldn't lose that. And that's what those people, your ancestors, brought here. And everybody has desecrated it, and we're desecrating it ourselves today. You go down to the forecourts in Dublin, and you'll see those there's supposed to be 5-stringed harps over the courts, and they're desecrated in 1922. They're not turned the right way. And I mean, to see the likes of Guinnesses using the sovereign seal of the sovereign Republic of Ireland, the sovereignty of God and the sovereignty of man on a glass to measure their Guinness and their stout. That is an absolute scandal. And I think it's time people cop themselves on here. We have the largest territory in Europe. We have the most valuable territory in Europe. We could be the wealthiest country in Europe. But the lies and the deception and giving away. And I read out there too, the oath of allegiance that they have to give all. There isn't one politician today or any of those judges or that have an oath of allegiance. I haven't one oath of allegiance, and I'm president of the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood. And they cannot sit, or they cannot use the Irish, without that oath of allegiance, the provisional Free State government cannot use the Irish and Fenian Republicans' tricolor flag. They can't use their sovereign seal at all. They can't use the proclamation, the sovereign constitution, the Declaration of Independence, or the Address to the Free Nations without that oath of allegiance. And there's one of them has it. There's one bank that has a license. There's one of those institutions. The license is 12 strings with air underneath it. The Free State, you see it, and we saw it when Boris came in yesterday in Leinster House, and you saw Realtas Nahairn and our seal without any air underneath it, because the Free State are not allowed to use it. They're under the Crown of England. And you can read it yourself. And that other book, which is everybody should read, not just me saying it, but it is Money for Ireland. And where's Money for Ireland? It is Money for Ireland and Finance, Diplomacy, Politics, and the First All-Ireland Loans, 1919 to 1936. Francis M. Carl. And Francis M. Carl, his people were evicted here many years ago, and his mother sent him back here to Trinity College to study. And he wrote that wonderful book about the money. And it's the money that people are interested in. And he went to Trinity and he wrote that, and everybody should read it and see where the Free State, it even tells you the Free State judges that they paid to set up the Free State. And remember, Britain had no money after the war. You know, I said there you were, we're talking about the 28th of December 1918. And they used the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood's money that we set up, Friends of Irish Freedom, that collected the money worldwide. And all those institutions were all paid for. And Britain robbed that money to set up the Free State. And that's why that bill is 200 billion plus today that they owe us. And they owe the Free State. We had no hand, act, or part in that Free State. That Free State was imposed on Ireland and the Irish people. And why should that Free State today owes, the Free State themselves, government came out and said it owes 205 billion. That's 405 billion that Britain owes us, and they should pay it before they leave on the 31st of December. We had no hand at their part in setting up a free state, which is still under the Crown of England. And I can tell you on the 6th of December 1921, Michael Collins in the Free State, and remember Michael Collins used to be president of the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood at one stage in the War of Independence. And on the 21st of January, he was Minister for Finance. But on the 6th of December 1921, when he and the Free State went down and bought Leinster House from the Royal Dublin Society and stuck the Free State provisional monarchist government in there without anybody's permission. I mean, they're talking, Boris is talking about the democratically elected. What about our democratically elected sovereign Dáil government on the 28th of December 1918 by 73 seats? Does anyone ever respect that? Does anybody speak about that? No.
No.
There's our own people speak. They pretend that they're Dáil Éireann. Dáil Éireann has never sat in Leinster House. It's the Royal Dáil that sits in Leinster House, the Royal Oireachtas. Dáil Éireann sat in the Mansion House in Dublin. And I'm doing it 56 years, and my family are doing it over 100 years. Excuse me. And this year is our 100th anniversary.
Right.
And it's time that people were told the truth now.
Yeah. I was asking a question there about Michael Collins. You know, he was a great guerrilla tactician. You know, he was...
Well, he wasn't. It was the IRB that were. It was the IRB. Michael Collins, this thing that he did this and he did that. No, he was a great man. All those volunteers, they carried 8 strings, IV, Irish volunteers, Ogden the Hearn. They were all great people. They gave their lives for us. And just pure savagery and brutality. And I wouldn't say a word against any of them. Even Michael Collins, he was under terrible, you know. But anyway, having said that, you know, where are we going to go today? And on the 31st, that's all our territory, and that should be managed and governed by the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, Sovereign Dáil Éireann government, and by the European Parliament and Union. And why is our tricolor flag up in Europe when they're doing nothing about it? All they're doing is govern the 26 counties, a free state imposed by the Crown of England, the British government, and enforced by the Crown forces. That's what it is. And it's time that people come out. You have had Chris Fogarty on your program. Now, he has really written, you know, what really happened. And it's time that people were told the truth and stood up. And where these people pretending that they're members of Dáil Éireann, Dáil Éireann is a 32-county mandate. Dáil Éireann is not the 26, it's the 32. And our tricolor, and inside Leinster House, you see our tricolor flag with a gold braiding, a British Admiralty gold braiding around our tricolor flag. And you saw when Boris came in yesterday, they couldn't put ERA underneath because they're only a provisional free state government under the Crown of England. That's not right.
So as what we see now, Billy, a continuation of the Free State government. Now, people claim that the Eamon de Valera constitution is the constitution we're run by now.
Not at all. The sovereign constitution of the 21st of January is up on BillyMcGuire.com. Anybody wants, and all those letters, everything that has a sovereign seal in it is up on BillyMcGuire.com. And anybody wants to read it can read it themselves.
Yeah.
You are the sovereign. And that's why the different Britain are not sovereign. They are subjects to the Crown. And the lies and the deception and the fraud that's inflicted on people today, it is dreadful.
Yeah, no.
Listen, I know you haven't. We don't have much time, do we?
No, we can continue. We can go on for another while yet. But I was going to ask you a question about the European Union. A lot of people are asking me. They're sending me messages saying that if we're a part of the European Union, that's effectively open borders. We're seeing a mass influx of migrants from Africa and the Middle East.
But they're not Europeans, you know.
Yeah, I know that, but like you were talking about you know the European Union. Would the IRB be for leaving the European Union, or are you just for open borders?
The IRB, we set up the 32 counties and all that territory for the Irish people, the sovereign Irish citizens, for you. And we are getting nothing from anybody. Well, all our territory is being desecrated, all our fishing. Nobody can fish without a license, and the only ones who can issue a license is the IRB. And those fishermen in Donegal, I offer to give them a license when Scotland, they're around Rockall. That's ours. I claim that every year. You can see it up in that in that. You'll see it. You'll see the territory I claim every year, and that's all ours. But if our own Free State government won't do anything about it, they're colluding. They're selling off parts of your property. There'll be nothing there for your children and your grandchildren. They'll have everything sold and pretended that I would ask, the first thing I'd ask any politician, show me your oath of allegiance to the state. As you know, the IRB, you brought it up the other day when you spoke, it's a secret. It's an oath-bound organisation is what it is. It's not a secret organisation. It's an oath-bound organisation that you have to give your oath of allegiance to the Sovereign Republic of Ireland, the Sovereign Dáil government, the Sovereign Dáil court. And in those days, it was the War of Independence. And you have to uphold that and be held accountable for that. That's what it's about. And all this old rubbish that people go on and accuse us of any old thing, it's British propaganda and our own people colluding with that.
Yeah.
Because they're getting huge salaries and huge pensions and robbing the assets and selling off the assets. Your assets. No, it's the people here are sovereign. And that's, I told you, we bought Vaughan Hotel for the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood. And in 1917, I told you, in 1916, we only had a provisional government. It's on our proclamation. And when we did, we had the support of all the people in Canada, all the Irish people in the United States of America, all the people in Europe, Australia. We had 200,000 sworn IRB people in Britain alone. You know, that was the support we had for Vaughan's Hotel. We didn't just go out and buy Vaughan's Hotel on a whim. And that's where you got your independence from.
Yeah, a lot
and you see, what did they do? They gutted Vaughan's Hotel.
Yeah.
The Free State government, they didn't want any of this, you see, because there was no question of Brexit. They were trying to make themselves the legitimate heirs, as they call it, the heirs of the rising and of the War of Independence. They're not. They're under the Crown of England, and that's what they are. They can't. There is no bank has a license, nor can they have a license. The Free State cannot issue a license because they're under. And you can read it yourself. Go back and read all those. People should do this thing that we won't teach any history. We'll rewrite our history, and I've seen it. I saw those last programs I've seen. I told you on Sunday night they had the John Hume program, a lovely program, and it's all about and seeing the hardship and seeing British are so much against the Irish people and the state, and then you had the other one. You had John Holland, the Fenian Ram. And they had that one, the Sun, all at 12:15. They had Daniel O'Connell at 12:15. They had these programs on, and all they're doing is they had John Creedon on, the Atlas of Ireland, Grand Ireland. He never mentioned Eugene O'Curry. He mentioned John O'Donovan. He was following John O'Donovan. They both worked together, and John O'Donovan, but Eugene O'Curry was the Breton Law scholar and the Irish scholar. He was the Irish scholar, but they never mentioned it. Just airbrushed him out. They airbrushed out Daniel O'Connell. They airbrushed out that. This is the 100th anniversary of the Sovereign Dáil government, and I can tell you on the 14th of December last year, up in the Royal Irish Academy, the Free State government had to do something, and they had a conference there. We weren't even invited. And eventually I got into it. And all the politicians were there, or those that thought they were Irish. They snubbed us. And Sean O'Farrell, the Count Corla, supposed to be the provisional Count Corla of the Royal Oireachtas, he wouldn't even meet the Irish and Fenian Republican brother. And he snubbed me. And I have written to him several times, and I've never got a reply from him. He just snubs me on every occasion. He snubs me. Because he just wanted to come out that he's only provisional Free State government under the Crown. Well, what's going to happen with Brexit? I mean, when all these 27 countries, the first time in our life, I told you when we bought Vaughan's Hotel the support we had worldwide was unbelievable. And Lloyd George and all those, they were afraid of their life. Woodrow Wilson was panicked. But what's going to happen to these people, supposed to be our friends in Europe, when they find out that they're being told to pack a lies by Britain and they're being told to pack a lies by our own provisional Free State government? You know, we are not going to allow our tricolour flag to fly up in Europe unless they take that oath of allegiance to the sovereign Dáil government. You know, why, on one hand, we're a sovereign government, we're Dáil and all this, and the other hand, and yes, when you saw yesterday, and what really annoyed me about yesterday, that Leo Varadkar stood up and he said, Britain has sovereign government in Northern Ireland. Britain doesn't have a sovereign government. They're all pretending to have sovereignty. They don't have it. And as I made it quite clear, only the Pope in Rome, Christ's vicar on earth, can anoint a sovereign. And Henry VIII fell out with the Pope in Rome, and he declared himself Diamond, and he was equal to God, and he didn't need the Pope. They haven't had a sovereign government since then. All they ever did was to all those countries, they sent in their crown forces to destroy the people and their property and take what they wanted. And that's what they did, and that's what they still do if they got away with it. And it's time people stood up. Look, I have nothing against Britain or British people. I don't. Sure, if you did a DNA, we're all the same, because we all come from that gene. But the point is that we're not being told the truth, and it's the first time. Look at all that territory, and all they're doing is throwing rubbish into our territory and our seas and everything else, destroying our fish. And I've made it quite clear, and I wrote to Pat the Cope Gallagher, that I would give those fishermen that were in trouble in Rockall a license to fish. I can tell you Scotland doesn't even have a sovereign government to give a license. And they cannot give a license to fish. They cannot claim it. You have to be a sovereign, and you have to be a sovereign to go into another sovereign territory. If you're not, and Britain was never, they went in there and they weren't sovereign. They had a royal government, royal courts of justice, and the Crown Force, and they simply the Crown Forces. And anyone who disagreed with them, they just destroyed them. And they plundered and took what they wanted. Look at all the land they took out from here, you know, and all to grow that food. There was no what they call famine in this country. All that food was shipped out to feed their Crown Forces. That's where the food went to. You see these estates, 85,000 acres they took from the local people to grow the food for the Crown Forces. Every one of those estates was to produce food to feed their, because an army has to be fed 365 days a year, and that's how they did it, and that's how they won their empire. But those days are gone, hopefully for the better. The people here are sovereign and have a right to the assets of the state, have a right to education, and have a right to be told the truth. And that's what our sovereign Dáil, we're not just a republic, we're a sovereign republic. And that's why we're a sovereign republic. And that's why our proclamation, our sovereign constitution, our declaration. I hope everybody reads that. If you went to BillyMcGuire.com, you can download all that information. And anyway, now you're probably sick of listening to me at this stage.
No, I was going to ask you a question, Billy, about Eamon de Valera, and there's a lot of talk that he was a British agent.
There is. I've read the book, and I spoke to the man that wrote the book, England's Greatest Spy, and I don't think de Valera was the man that we all think he is at all. What
do you think of him, or what? Any stories there?
Very well. I knew him very well because, as you know, from telling that, and he came from Bury. As you know, I come from County Limerick, and I'm afraid he did betray our state, and that money that I told you that Friends of Irish Freedom collected, all those institutions were up in paper. James McGuire was chairman of Friends of Irish Freedom. He resigned over that. That money was robbed by Britain to set up the Free State, was robbed by Cumann Gael to set up Fine Gael, and robbed by de Valera to set up Fianna Fáil. That's where they got the money from. And you read that book, I told you, Money for Ireland, quoted you what's the name of it. And that man is still alive.
Yeah, I was in contact with him. I was contact with Francis M. Carroll via email. I was trying to get him on, but he was very reluctant to come on.
Was he?
Yeah, I got his. I did a lot of research, and finally, I think he's in Canada, and he yeah, and I got his email, and I was emailing him back and forward, asking him would he come on, but he said he hadn't written the book in a long time, and he doesn't, he wouldn't be very familiar with the knowledge, but he said he was reluctant to do an interview, unfortunately.
Oh, because when I spoke to him that time, he was very anxious to do an interview. He probably, but it's a shame because the information he has.
Oh, absolutely.
But there's the book that the conspirators. Did you see that book?
No, I didn't, Billy.
It's a photographic history of Ireland's revolutionary underground. Shane Kenna, and Shane Kenna was a young. He died of cancer very young, but. It's all photographs of all Irish Ukrainians, and it's the first time it was let's just get it right. The National Library of Ireland and the Glasnevin Trust and Mercier Press, right? And here on the back of it, I'll read the back of it. The Irish Republican Brotherhood was one of the most important revolutionary organizations within Irish history, and had a profound influence on the emergence of Ireland as we understand it today. Founded in Dublin and New York, 1858, which I just read to you, its story encompasses intrigue, espionage, international bombing campaigns, and revolution. Without it, the generation that followed could not have made the gains it did between 1916 and 1921. And Ireland, we know today, may not have existed. In Conspirators, the story of the IRB and the Fenian conspiracy, it led is told for the first time through photographs, a combination of collaboration between the National Library of Ireland, Glasnevin Trust, and Mercier Press. It is a comprehensive yet accessible history of one of Ireland's most important revolutionary movements. Dr. Shane Kenna holds a PhD in Irish history from Trinity College, Dublin. You see, by being in Trinity College, he was able to access, files, RUC files, and British files that the ordinary person, ordinary researcher wouldn't be entitled to. In Dublin, he also worked at Glasnevin, Tremaine Jail Museum, Dublin Castle, government buildings, and Castellan House, extensive published. He has written several books on the theme of Irish republicanism, but he died very young. So what we were hoping to do was, and they're sending off those books for a fiver, and to put in that book, to bring it up to date, and Vaughan's Hotel, which was the headquarters of the War of Independence, and that's where you got your independence from, and put in the proclamation, sovereign constitution, declaration of independence, the history of the flag. Just for a few photographs, put up 16 numbers straight, which I read out here, where James Stephen founded the Irish on September 1858, and 2 photographs, and Doheney's in New York, although Doheney's isn't there anymore, I think. But there are 2 graves are out in Glasnevin, 2 magnificent graves, and everybody should go out and see those graves, because we go there on St. Patrick's Day, and we're just ignored by Glasnevin, and they have, they do tours around Glasnevin, and yet they don't even mention James Stephens or John O'Mahony. Also, Eugene Curry and John, they're buried out there as well. And these people are the people that made this country, and those volunteers, give their lives. But betrayed at the end is not right. Yeah. And what we want is that to put in the rest of that book and put it out, the proper facts, that people are told the truth and make up your own mind. And if you had, I do that about the harps and that, and I know some people think, that's and all this, but that's the wheat. Where did that come from? How did man learn to write? How did man learn to count the abacus? It's all on that. How you build any structure.
Yeah.
The pyramids of Egypt were built, and that's what the Egyptians did, a 12 months calendar, and that's all from those 2 5-string tops. And we were all part of that, because that's what was carried here, that information. But to deliberately use it, and people use it, and take it to war, I think is absolutely scandalous.
Billy, I get frequent messages from people who watch my radio show that criticize me for having you on in previous shows because they claim that the Irish Republican Brotherhood is a free Masonic secret society. They say that James...
propaganda, lies, and deception. Where did they get that information from?
I don't know. I think they say that James Stevens and John O'Mahony went to... This is what they tell me. They went to France to the Freemasons there and set up... they say that it's all free Masonic secret societies.
Sure, the harp was there long before any of us. And before any civilization was there, the harp was there. And the harp is the covenant between God and man with all the information for his planet Earth and our civilization. There's no man or woman in this planet Earth understands God, but you can understand the covenant that he gave us. And they're those 2 5-string tops that were on the Ark of the Covenant. And the first string is the golden thread, all mathematics, all science, all astronomy, our intellect and our reason. That's how we understand it today. All that technology today comes from those 2 5-string tops. So your measuring tape, your plumb line, your straight edge, latitude, longitude, all come that way. And all those great people and great intellects, 5 strings. That's you put your 2 hands up in the air, the sun which goes all over by and us, the moon controls all the cycles of life. That's nothing to do with Masonry. Nothing at all. They use that. They use all those things. It's not.
So IRB aren't.
Organization. That's all we do. We still carry that, what our ancestors carried here. From the Middle East right across to Europe, North Africa to here. And that's where all those buildings, everything comes out of that. And you can do it yourself. Anybody, any child can understand that. Your intellect and reason and your 5 senses understands that. That's how you do it. And that's truth, knowledge, and information. But all the lies and the propaganda and the falsehoods that we get today, that's all imposed by people trying to control. It's like the Roman Empire that changed to Roman Christianity to control the people, and that's what it's all about, controlling, and then about taxing people. But what we have is truth, knowledge, and information, and any child can understand that. Those two, and they should do it, and that's what your people brought here. And that's what I know the criticism I get in that. And would be, well, don't listen to him. Oh, sure. I'm not asking you. I'm going to give you the information. You don't want it, that's up to you. Right. If you want to know where you come from and where you come from and how you come from and how all these things were established, you need to know that information. But you must move on. We live in today's world. And anyway, that's what those people did.
Yeah,
but before you finish, you should do the medal and the GA.
Oh, yeah.
Is our organization, to set up, if Michael Cusick, he was only fronting for the IRB. They were all IRB people, but you couldn't in those days. You had to be members of that. And if you go back to James, to all those, I mean, they were in a very poor situation when all the land was taken from the people, and it was that's what made it was the GA. And they had a club in every little town and village in Ireland. And the Hurleys were known as the Tipperary Rifles, and that's what they had to train with, and because you weren't allowed. The Crown forces were down if you caught you or whatever. But if you look at the medal and I'll just look at this. I'll read this little piece for you here. On the 4th of September 2008, the GA replaced the sovereign seal of Eire and the sovereign republic of Eire, Christian symbol and ethos, the Fenian Brotherhood 5 strings in gold, sovereign seal. And I have Billy McGuire. Since the 4th of September 2008, the desecration of our sovereign seal, a Christian symbol and ethos, a sacred symbol to the Celtic and Irish people. Look what has happened to the country. The banks, the factories, the jobs, etc. The GA says it's only mythology, I say it's a fact. And the GA was the backbone of the War of Independence and is still the Irish Republican Brotherhood organisation, as is the GA medal, the Sam McGuire, and the Liam McCarthy trophies. They're all Irish and Freeman Republican Brotherhood trophies. And as you know, Sam McGuire was our secretary. And that tricolor flag that flies in Croke Park is ours, as is the Sam McGuire and the Liam McCarthy. And on the 4th of September, they took off the sovereign seal and air of the medal. They didn't tell anybody. And the reason they did it, they turned us into a corporation to make money. And they don't have a license there because I was asked by a lawyer from America, who founded the GA, the Irish and Freeman Republican Brotherhood? Who owns the GA, the Irish and Freeman Republican Brotherhood? And who owns the Sam McGuire, the Irish and Freeman? Who owns the Liam McCarthy, the Irish and Freeman? Who owns the medal, the Irish and Freeman Republican Brotherhood? Who owns the tricolor flag, the Irish and Freeman Republican Brotherhood? So they took it off because they didn't have a license. And who owns the license? I said the Irish and Freeman. So they turned it into a corporation, and they took off the sovereign seal and air and replaced it with GAA in the symbol of the circle on the 4th of September 2008. They also dug up all the ground in the GAA, and they put down English soil. It was the time the Queen came that time, that she could stand on English soil in Croke Park. And I think that was, and she gave that money, you know, for that GAA. I don't know whether they ever built it up in the H block that they were supposed to build it. I don't know whether they did it or not. And that was the quid pro quo.
We're struggling to hear you there, Billy. Speak up a bit.
Sorry?
No, we couldn't hear you there. Just you were very muffled. Go on ahead.
No, did you hear what I read out to you about the GA?
Yeah, just the last 10 seconds. So you were saying about the digging up above the soil.
They dug up the GA when the Queen came here on the state visit that time. They dug up Croke Park and they replaced the ground in Croke Park, as you know, was sacred ground to Irish people and to GA people. And they used to run onto the pitch and they'd all take home a piece of the GA of the Croke Park in their pocket and plant it in their lawn. But they dug it up, and for the Queen who came here, they put on English soil, is what it, and Billy Connolly was the one who did it, and that's what he told me anyway. And the way when she came that time and visited Croke Park, that she would stand on English soil in Croke Park. And she gave, I think, something like 60 million or something for that. There's a H block up there that was going to have a picture of an GA.
We can't hear you
anyway,
again, Billy, sorry. Did you say the Queen of England spent 60 million to remove the soil, or who?
No, they didn't. Because the GA they removed the soil. Because Billy Connolly put in the English soil on it, and she didn't. She put in. Hold on, so maybe my phone is getting a bit low. 1 minute. Is that better?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Maybe the phone is gone a bit low. But anyway, she she gave supposed to be 60 million for, this is the H block, where they're building a GA pitch up there where the H block was.
Right.
I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what she's supposed to have given. But she had to stand on English soil in Croke Park. And they dug up all the soil from Croke Park and they replaced it with English soil. They brought it in from England. I can tell you before she came.
Yeah.
And the man who did it is Billy Connolly, so you can talk to Billy Connolly, I'm sure, and he'll tell you the same thing.
Right. Another question, or another thing I want to say, Billy, is did you hear recently they want to stop playing the national anthem at Croke Park and they want to remove the tricolour as well?
Well, it's not their tricolour anyway, it's ours. But I mean, once you get down to that, it's a corporation now. Like all these things are corporations. Corporations have to have licenses, and they have no license. And I think it's only about making money for themselves. You know, they don't care about the people anymore.
No, they do not.
And I'm afraid they don't. And they just put more taxes on them and put up the price of everything. It's sad the way it's going from when you think of those volunteers, 8 strings ID that they carry. excuse me, and put that up in the Mansion House in Dublin for the first time in Galway. And I think it's very sad if they came back and saw the way, and not on that, but they're rewriting everything and they're people confused. They don't teach history anymore. They don't tell the truth. They just do, and they leave you, and young people, they don't know. And I believe that's the reason. If you knew, you'd have a much better view of life, and all this old drugs and everything else that people are. That is not acceptable for sovereign people or the sovereign republic that they are. You know, we were proud of our passport. That has 12 strings with air underneath it. That's the 21st of January 19 on your passport. And on your title deeds, it's supposed to have the same, the sovereign seal of Dáil Éireann. People don't even know what it is today.
No.
And you know, I think it's dreadful.
Yeah.
When we have the wealthiest country and the largest country in Europe, and there's only 26 counties that have been governed by a free state government under the Crown of England. And I think people should listen to that programme of John Hume last night. No, it was on Sunday night at 12:15. They should look at those other programmes they're putting on at the. I mean, the John Creedon programme. There's another one, rewriting our history again. He never mentioned Eugene O'Curry, Ireland's greatest Irish scholar, and a Brehon Law scholar. You know, they have their own Brehon Law School in Donaha, and himself and John O'Donovan. I mean, they're known as the Four Masters. Those they did all the St. Isidora's, they did all the museums, all the Irish scholars, all those Irish books. You know, and then they were going to mention airbrushed out completely. You know, that's not right. It's like the IRB. We were 100th anniversary. We didn't even get. We got no invitation. And in 2016, Heather Humphrey stood up in Galway University. All these visitors from all over the world to give them reassurance. And I said that the Irish and Free, we weren't even invited. And Enda Kenny was there. He ran up afterwards, and so did the president of the Galway University, and apologised for it. But that didn't make any difference. They still had a big dinner. We still weren't invited. And they had our proclamation up, and they had our tricolour up, and they had everything up. And where's those coming from? And Heather Humphrey stood up on the third day, and she said, we have taken back the tricolour flag from the dissidents. How dare she say that? That is the Irish and Fenian Republican Brothers tricolour flag. She's the dissident, not the Irish, those people who she's claiming are dissidents. And I think it's going to be, for the one time in our history, when we have 27 countries, well, 26, supporting us. As you know, in 1916 we not be. And on the 21st of January in 1919, we only had Russia. And we had America in the base, particularly. But we have these countries. And what's going to happen on the 31st, on the 1st of November this year, when all these 26 countries would have a long face and be told a pack of lies and deception and fraud? That's no way to carry on. We have a sovereign government that those people gave their lives for, and the savagery and brutality they had to endure to achieve it for us. And we couldn't care less about it, and we know nothing about it. You know, but you can waltz all over the country and all over the world with your passport, and you're accepted in these countries. So somebody had to go out and fight for that. And you know, they're it's this and it's that, and it's a secret society, and they're so amazing. That is a load of rubbish, and that's all British propaganda. We're sick to death of the whole thing. Well, tell the truth of what happened. And every year I go to the Mansion House. This year, for the 100th anniversary, we weren't even allowed inside the door. We had to do it out on the steps, and you can see it up on the website. Our sovereignty. What are these people think they are? There's about 5 different organisations trying to take over the IRB at the moment. Not for the good of the people or for the country. They're greed for themselves to sell licences and pretend they're something that they're not. You know? And I think there's an absolute scandal. You know, your land has to have that sovereign seal. All that land commission. That's all Irish and Fenian Republic got it from you. They were the ones that had to have the sovereign government to take it back from the landlords. I just mentioned to you. You know, just one estate there, 85,000 acres. No, I mean, it's unbelievable. We don't seem to know where it came from or where we're going.
People are asking, Billy, what are we going to do to take it all back? Are we going to start a new doll again? How can we take this?
Well, Dáil Éireann, look, very easy. We're not changing that. Dáil Éireann is there. Dáil Éireann was the 21st of January 1919, except it didn't sit in Leinster House. It sat in the Mansion House. That's the difference. But Dáil Éireann is still there. All we have to do, take that bloody, excuse my language, gold braiding from around the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood tricolor flag, go down to the courts and put those two 5-string harps properly aligned. And there's very little to be done to have our sovereign government. And those politicians and those judges would have to take the oath of allegiance to the sovereign Republic of Ireland, sovereign Dáil Éireann government, or the sovereign. If they don't, we can lease our sovereign Republic of Ireland, all our territories and all 32 counties, to a state that will govern it properly. If Europe isn't going to do it, there's Bill Hogan today. He's now the Commissioner for Trade. Very important one. But he's not. He's only Free State. I mean, there's lies and deception. We don't want to lies and deception and telling people alone and lies. And it could be this, but not the facts and where they're coming from. And all that is stemming from Henry VIII, when he fell out with the Pope in Rome. And Henry VIII was always a Roman Catholic. He was never a Protestant. Everybody else had to be. And the Pope in Rome, Christ Vicar on earth, was the only one in those days that was recognized that could anoint properly. And that's where it comes from. And why can't they come out and tell the truth to the people? We're not a religious organization. That's one thing we're not. But we're doing the welfare of our people and our planet Earth, the rights and welfare of the Irish people. And those two 5-string harps, as I said before, are the covenant between God and man with all the information for his planet Earth and our civilization. We have to find our own civilization ourselves. And all that technology all comes from that. The first string is the golden thread, and the measuring tape, thumb line, straight edge, how man learned to weave his cloth. Everything is on it. But all you have to do is look. And everybody has that intellect almost at the end. That's what it is for. And those two, those stars that are on the European flag, they're not stars. They're sovereign seals of the sovereign. They are all harp signs, is what they are. And those two, the 3 wise men riding around on camels, that's for children. They're following the harp signs, the covenant between God and man. That's what they're following. I mean, it's just shocking the way everything is changed out. Listen, you haven't been able to get much questions, but anyway, look, we've done our little thing for you, and we did it for the medal. And I hope it's a wonderful game, because the GA is a great organisation. But it has to go back to the people.
Yeah.
The people are the sovereign. That's what it is.
Can I ask you one more question, Billy? Then I'll let you go, alright? Because I know it's getting late. What about Brehon Law?
Yeah.
What about...
Well, Eugene O'Curry was the great expert on Brehon Law, as you know.
Who?
They had their own Brehon. Eugene O'Curry was the great expert on Brehon Law.
Right.
And they had their own Brehon Law school. There were several Brehon Law schools around the country,
Right. And is there any way we can bring Brehon Law back, or is it too old?
Brehon Law is still there. It's still there.
Right.
It's still there. It's not away any place. But like everything else is hidden.
It's hidden now?
Yeah, there is. We went down to Carnahalla, and there's a lot of young people that were initiated back into Brehon Law again. I mean, there was one very young child there, and he came up and he said, I want to be initiated into the Brehon Law, and he was.
So,
and there are a lot of people. In the underground, it's all there.
Can you put me in contact, maybe when we're not on the radio show, with some of these people, Billy?
I can. I'll put you in touch. Don't you know our secretary, John Robinson?
Yeah.
Well, John will tell you.
John, tell me, right, okay.
And there's plenty you want to know, John will tell you.
Right. It's a strong interest of mine.
Sorry?
I'm very interested in Brehon law.
Oh, sure, it's marvellous. Brehon law is great. That's where it all comes from.
Can you?
That's where the harp are.
Yeah. I was going to say.
You know,
Oh, sorry, Billy. I was just going to say, can you give us some examples of what Brehon law is about? Because most of my listeners probably wouldn't really know what Brehon law is. What is it, and what? How?
That's that's older than Roman laws. The oldest law we have, and it all comes from the harp. The harp, as I said, is the covenant between God and man with all the information for his planet Earth and our civilization. I've also said that there's no man or woman understands God. But you can understand, excuse me, the two 5-string harps that were on the Ark of the Covenant, because the first string is the golden thread. And that's how man learns to build. Your plumb line, your straight edge, your measuring tape, your dividing tool, the pyramids reach, and you see the curved side of the harp. That's the feathers of the wheel. The strings become the spokes. The hub of the wheel is that little eye. When the eye is threaded.
Speak up there, Billy. Can't hear you.
Sorry. The eye is threaded with the axe, and then you have all the information. The top of it is how you build. You know those. You're probably interested in the Viking ships and all that sort of stuff, and how they built them and all that. The top of it is your ship, the Viking ship. It's the colour and how you build it. The strings become the lat on the side of it. And you turn it upside down, the curved side then becomes the keel of the ship in the Atlantic Ocean. And you keep going on and on. Sundial, compass, wheel, latitude, longitude, all those things. And excuse me. You go to Ptolemy and all these people who used the harp and they threaded the first string to the eye of the harp. You know, the little lump at the end, that's the eye.
Right.
If you go to Termini in Rome, you'll see how the most important days in Roman Christian calendar is Easter Sunday. But they couldn't determine Easter Sunday because they didn't have a calendar. They had the winter and summer solstice from the summer is the sun is at its highest and then it goes down. Winter solstice, then it rises up again. Everything grows up with that again. And it was that little eye that when the sun hits that eye in Termini, in Rome, and the sun runs along the floor as it does in all those old Celtic churches that you see roofed around the place. You still see it, and you can see it. You go to the Gur or you go to Tara, any of these places, you see that, and you see how they measured the sun, how they understood it, and that grows all our environment. But when that is the first Sunday, when the sun hits that and it runs along the floor, Easter Sunday is the first Sunday after the full moon for the whole world. I mean, what has that got to do with masonry or anything else? These are people that knew nothing about masonry. These are people who they didn't even know about. They didn't know about religion or anything. I'm going back to the very beginning of mankind when they had to learn all these things. But they're handed to people today, and people, they look at them and they desecrate them and that, and they couldn't care less. It's all handed to them. But I mean, that's only the start of it, and how everything the wheel is the most. Look at the wheel on and the feathers of the wheel on the harp, and how you build it and how you make it, and we don't even know. So without the wheels there, that man can travel the world, the boat, that man can sail the world, and you look at the sky, you look at the crescent moon, that's the ship, and that's where they took it from, and all these things. All these measurements and how they learn to weave their cloth, latitude and longitude, those two first strings, and you put up the two 5-string harps, and there's how man learned to weave. It's all there mathematically. Anyway, now you're probably sick of listening to me at this stage.
No, that's great, Billy. Thanks for coming on. Right, I'll have you on again soon.
Oh, you're very welcome. But look, tell people on Saturday for the replay. The GA is a great organisation. And you look at Sam McGuire, and in London Hibernians, you see him, and you can see it up in Billy McGuire, wearing the St. Patrick's Day badge, which is the harp. which we wore on St. Patrick's Day, and that's the reason why we wear it on St. Patrick's, founded on St. Patrick's Day, 1858. And I tried to tell that in America, they hadn't a clue. And I tried to tell it here, but look at Sam McGuire. And that's where all that comes from. And that was uniting our people for the welfare of our people. But we don't want any corruption, we don't want any lies, we don't want any fraud. And we want to ask, and look, I'm telling you now, if the politicians who are claiming that the heirs of 1916 and all that, if they don't sign that oath of allegiance, you know, the IRB is an oath-bound organisation. They founded and funded the state. And if they're not going to uphold the sovereign Republic of Ireland, the sovereign Dáil Éireann government, the sovereign Dáil Éireann code for the people and for the welfare of the people, that's what it's about. Well, then we're not going to give our tract on the flag, and we're not going to give our sovereignty to Dáil Éireann. So Bill Hogan can say what he likes, but he and how is it that not one of them, we got at the 100th anniversary, we didn't get one invitation, not one, and none of them turned up on the 21st of January at the Mansion House. None of them turned up, and when they did turn up on the 14th of December in the Royal Irish Academy, and no Royal Irish, they snubbed the Irish and Republican government, didn't want to know. They're only free state, and they'll have to make up their mind on the free state. But I can tell you that on the 16th of March 2017, when Queen Elizabeth, she didn't give sovereignty, she gave royal assent to Article 50 of Brexit. She abdicated any claim she has in this country. And she took Ireland, England, Scotland out of the European Union. And we should be very careful, but we have a sovereign government, and we're staying in the European Union until we get our territories right. And if they're not going to govern us, well, then we'll have to get somebody else to do it. Simple as that. But the people they should benefit. They shouldn't be. I'm told by people today that there's families going out there on Monday morning with nothing, and they work all week. And these are, you think, well-off families. By Saturday night, they have nothing left. They have to start again with nothing. That is no way to run a country. That is no way for sovereign people to be treated. It's no way for people to be on waiting lists in hospitals. That's not what those people went out and gave their lives for. That is not the sovereign Republic of Ireland. That is the free state under the Crown of England. And all our assets being robbed left, right, and center. And why should we be supporting, I read it out there in that letter, a British apartheid system for the 26 and 6 counties of Ireland as an orange-free state as a provisional government. When we have a sovereign government by the will and wish of all the people, 73 seats, and that's what we have, and that's what we should be doing. And you should be questioning all these people. And anyone who stopped, I mean, I heard there about Rockall and that. You should ask them, where's your license? Anytime you're stopped by any civil servant, a guard or a civil servant or anything like that, question it. In your bank, you should say, where's your license, please? Can I see your license? And if they say to you, can I see your license? Oh, you can. There's my passport. There's the license. There's on it. And now can I see yours, you should say. Be polite and dignified, but be strict. So where are you getting your sovereign authority from? You're not. And you should read those books that I read out to you. That will tell you, and will tell you where the money was robbed. And will tell you the name of the Free State judges that set up the Free State. People going into court think they're going into sovereign Dáil Éireann court. They're not. They're going in under the crown. That's what they're going. And you see, they have a license. They're going, there's Scotland now claiming Rockall because they think, we're big enough. In those days, they went in because they had the crown forces behind them, and they were the might. And might was right in those days. But today, we're in Europe, and we've all those other countries who are saying, look, the way we've been bullied and blackguarded. And I think it's time we stopped it. And I think it's time we told the truth, and it's time we asked the right question. Now, I'd better leave you in peace.
Good man, Billy. Thanks.
And I'd like to thank all your listeners. I love Donegal. Lovely. I have great friends up there. And, it's beautiful. But all our country is beautiful, and we have a beautiful. All we need is that sovereign Dáil Éireann government of the 21st of January 1919, that those people gave their lives for. That's all we. And I have been asking that Bob's Hotel would be restored, 29 Parnell Square and Sandy Road. And I told you when the Queen Day the Reed in Parliament. That took 10 years permission from the Irish and Fenian Republican Brotherhood. We also had to give assurance for her safety, that she wouldn't be shot or injured or any way. And we had to guarantee that, and we did. And all we did we get an acknowledgement or a thank you or anything else? All we got was abuse, and then she went home. Very sad to see it, and I think that was not right. What she did, she should have at least thanked the Irish and Fenians. But the Earl of Hampton could be seen to the Archbishop Eames and the Presbyterian people in the House of Lords for that, and they were treated like dirt, and that's not right. I mean, English people should this day and age, But anyway, that's where we are.
All right, Billy.
I'll say good night to you now, and good night to all your listeners.
All right, thanks, man, Billy. Right. See you later, Slan. Real Irish goodbye. Just hangs up. Oh my god. That was Billy McGuire there, folks. Thanks to Billy for coming on. It's always great to have Billy on. I always like getting his perspective. So yeah, that was Billy McGuire, president of the Irish Republican Brotherhood. Folks, please hit the like button. I wasn't able to say it there because yeah, Cap's around. Cap, do you want to come up here? Come on. Here. Come on up here, Cap. Come on. Come on. Say hello to everybody. There we go. Say hello to everybody now. So yeah, that was Billy McGuire, president of the Irish Republican Brotherhood. Everyone hit the like button, please. Subscribe, hit the bell notification. What else? Oh yeah, there's a link below to the Discord if you want to call into the show or if you want to meet up in your local areas. I've been encouraging people to meet up in local areas, but some people are, but a lot of people are not meeting up at all, especially around Dublin and Connacht. It's very, very poor. I'm struggling to get people to help me hand out flyers. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fluoride or what's going on, but just not getting enough help, unfortunately. Was handing out flyers in Croke Park there, the All-Ireland final. I had 3 or 4 people help me, and I was asking lots of people, but I couldn't get any help. So I'm looking for more help, people, regarding handing out flyers and meeting up in local areas. Like, that's the big one too. So please, people, if you want to meet up in local areas, join our Discord and get active. Just don't be just sitting behind your keyboard. We need to actually get out in the street and meet up and hand out some flyers, and meeting up is the big one, I think. So the books Billy was on about is Money for Ireland, Francis M. Carroll. What else? The other books? The Fenian Chief by Desmond Ryan. And that's the 2 main books that he recommends. Is Francis M. Carroll's Money for Ireland, this expensive book. Aiden. People keep calling me Aiden. I'm not Aiden, I'm Niall. Oh, maybe you're chatting to somebody. You actually are chatting to Aiden. Sorry. My name is Niall. So yeah, I'm like, just we have meetup groups, but just not enough. Like, I'm kind of disappointed. I'm disappointed in not getting enough people out, and not enough people helping me to hand out flyers. Like, need people with need people to help out, like, because our country's going down the drain fast. We don't have much time, so we need everyone, as many people's help as possible. So yeah, if you want to help out, please join our Discord below. I'm sick of saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it. And see if there's anybody on here. You should print an Irish Patriot t-shirt. No, I'm okay. What else? Folks, I've no callers at all. If I had some callers, I'd bring them on, but no callers, so I'm going to leave the stream there. There's almost 200 people watching, and I can't get any callers too. Okay, Brendan, if you'd like to join our Discord too, see, there's all these people from Connacht coming out now. Tavish, please join our Discord too. Brendan, please join our Discord. There's another person too in the chat. It was from Mayo. Please join our Discord in the description. The first link. Oh yeah. Well, it's very important for people to yeah, we don't do merchandise. There's a sex ed survey that we can fill out, and it's actually on the official government's website, the NCCA. They're a alphabet soup government agency, National Council for Curriculum Assessment. They're the group or the organization in charge for bringing in curriculum to the Irish schools, and we can do a so-called survey. I don't know what it's. I don't really like it, but it's our only way to voice our opinion, telling them what we don't want the sex ed coming in. We have until the 25th of October. So please, everybody, the second link down below this video, scroll down, and there's what's called. You'll see a sex ed survey. Click the link, fill it out multiple times. Jay Cahill. What are you're messing? No. So yeah. No callers, folks. I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for tuning in. Everyone in the live chat, thanks to Billy McGuire. I've got Gemma O'Doherty coming on tomorrow at 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna create a scheduled stream here now when I finish this stream. So Gemma's on tomorrow at 8 o'clock, and then Thursday I have a very important guest, Christopher Bullen. He's a 9/11 expert and who was behind it. He's written a few books on it. Whatever that is. Discord is our community where we organize, post research, and talk in groups. So yeah. Gemma O'Doherty tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 o'clock, and then Christopher Bullen Thursday, 8 o'clock. So that should be fantastic. Hopefully you will enjoy Christopher and Gemma when they're on. What else is there? I think that's it, folks. So yeah, let's see now. I'm gonna get the national anthem up here now, and that'll be it for tonight. Alright, I got the national anthem ready. Yeah, not enough people are helping out. I know I'm being a little bit negative there, but not enough people are helping out. And you can call me whatever you want, I don't care, but that's the truth. Our country is going down the drain, we're losing our country, and I can't get people to meet up in person. You know, the average is 3,000 people watch this stream. 70% are Irish. I can't get them out of the front door. I'm trying my best, but I can't get people to do anything. Can't even get people to hand out flyers. Like, if we can't get people to hand out flyers, we may forget about it. I may just stop doing streams, may forget about it. But obviously there's some fantastic folks that help me in the background. They know who they are. Like, I don't need to mention their names, but they know who they are. They're in the live chat there. They're fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I don't even see any callers there, so yeah, I'm going to leave it there. So yeah, if you want to meet up in local areas, if you like exactly what I'm talking about, go into the Discord link below. The first link, scroll down below this video, click on that, and that'll take you take you straight into our Discord. Yeah, I had Herman Kelly on there a few nights ago, so I did. I'm trying to get the National Party on here, but I don't know. There seems to be some kind of reluctance to come on to the live stream. So just letting everyone know that I'm trying to get the National Party on, but I don't know. I can't get a response from them, but that's all right. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Aslan.